What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to come clean about the real reason I took down my videos and why my videos have changed so dramatically. Because in the lead up to me deciding to take all my videos down, I was having a lot of new experiences, right? I was having a lot of new experiences as far as like the winning season. I finally realized for the first time that, wow, I've been living in another world my whole life, and wow, I've really been through it. Like, I've been through it, and the world doesn't have to be like the world that I've lived in. And there's actually another side of the world where there's like really lovely people, and it's actually a nice time. So I really didn't realize all these videos I've been making, I really felt like I was just doomed. I always felt just doomed, like that I just deserve to like suffer the way that I have. And I've had really toxic ways of like seeing that. So like one of the things I was thinking about today, how growing up, I always felt like every time I saw a spider, I was being punished for being a sinner. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So one of the things that really struck me is that I had been focused so much on like proving myself like in this life, and it's not that I was trying to do it, it's just what was like made normal very early on, because like whenever I would do well, whenever I would be successful, whenever I'd be responsible, I would receive love and or not real love actually, because I was just really being used a lot of the time, but what felt like I thought what love was. When I would make mistakes and when I would do the wrong thing or I'd be irresponsible, there was never like a comfortable, like loving, like this was wrong, but we're going to help you. And I'm saying this in a sense of the whole world and all the communities that I've been involved with, right? There was never like a sense of like, okay, that was wrong, but we're going to try, it's okay, you can do it again. It was always like, oh, this is the problem with you. Like, it's exactly what my whole generation is going through right now. And that's actually why I decided to change my videos. Because I realized that from where I'm sitting, especially as a woman, I'm 27 years old now. And I keep feeling like I want to mention that I just turned 27 so that people don't think I'm like deep into 27, closer to 28. I just turned 27. What I realized is that like I look at my generation and I look at the women of my generation, and sorry, this is bothering me. 1 second. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking. I'm back. I don't know why I do that, as if you guys are going to see any difference. But anyway, when I look at the women of my generation, like I was looking at Chrisean Rock today, for example, and, you know, she's now, you know, training and running again, and she's like looking after herself, and, you know, she's given up, you know, the alcohol and things like that, and the smoking weed and all this. And people are commenting on the state of her son, saying that, oh, you should have given that up before she was pregnant. She should have given, like, well done. It, like, you know, everyone's just mocking her. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I experienced. This is what I experienced from the adult population. Like, there's no helping. There's no people being understanding. It's just, you should have known a bunch of stuff that nobody never told you, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching, because I refuse to be, I'm doing everything in my power not to become like some of the older generations and be like this with the kids and be like this when I'm older. I am making that as a promise within myself, a vow to myself, because there's nothing worse than when you've been through a lot and when you're trying your very, very best and everybody treats you like you're still an idiot. There is nothing nice about that. That's why a lot of kids, right, they don't do well with a lot of adults today in schools, because you talk to them like an idiot and you talk to them like they're supposed to know stuff that they don't know. And you just assume the worst. Like, I was having this conversation the other day with this lady, black lady with a hair business, right? And she said, she made a statement that a lot of people make about us black girls, which is that we hate our natural hair. I was like, if I knew how to look after my natural hair better, I would go natural. I've actually been wanting to go natural for years, probably since I was like 10. No, not since I was 10, since I was like 16. And I actually went natural for a while, but I don't have the tools, or I didn't yet have the tools of how I'm going to look after my hair. So I said to her, I believe that this is a problem across the board, right? And I know what people are going to say. Well, you can learn. Yeah, I have been learning. I've been doing my own hair since I was 18. I do my own hair and I've been learning. But guess what? I've got to learn so much stuff that I'm overwhelmed because I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to get everything right. I'm trying to adult to everything. And for some reason, it seems I have to teach myself like everything, right? As even in school, I taught myself. I used to reteach myself after the lessons. Sometimes the teachers just wasn't really working for me. So that's why I'm good at teaching, because I've learned to I'm so good at self-teaching. That's why I'm good at teaching. I have no teaching qualification, by the way. Funny story. So she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And every time I talk to older black women, they always say, you black girls hate your hair. I'm like, we don't know what to do with our hair. Oh, did no one ever tell you? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. So we're figuring it out. And that's why there's polarizing sides to this thing. You have the girls who just go straight for the wigs. I'm talking about girls of my generation. Go straight for the wigs and whatnot. Or on the other end, the ones who go full-blown Afrocentric, like wearing an afro and all this, right? Here I'm going, they're two sides of the same coin. A lot of the girls doing the wigs and stuff, it's easier for them to do. They've taught themselves how to do it because there's no other way to figure out, because apparently we're all supposed to teach. I don't know if the older generations, you guys tell me, did you just like appear and like you just figured everything out by yourself? Like, did you just come out from the womb and like no one ever told you anything and that's how you figured out how to do everything? Did you just like wake up and know how to do your tax? Did you just like wake up and know how to do this, that, and the other? And for me, it's not even the issue. We talked about it and it was actually nice for me. It was like therapeutic. It was very healing for me to have that conversation with one of these older black women, because I was like, I'm sick of everything always being just an assumption of the very worst about us, always. Like, that's the thing. It's not even what the topic was. And she was very sweet about it, don't get me wrong, because she genuinely didn't know. But that's the thing. The thing is that we'll always just assume the worst. We'll always just assume the worst about us. And like, there's no like loving correction. It's just, you should have somehow known something. You should have just somehow known. And this happened the other day. You know, it happens all the time when I have these conversations with older women. They're like, oh, I can't believe the girls didn't know how to do this. And I'm like, has anybody told them how to do it? No. Who told you? Oh, my auntie growing up. Oh, my mum growing up. My grandma growing up. Oh, that's interesting. So, you know, so I'm looking at my generation. It's just like everybody just makes, and I'm really feeling so comfortable now, like, because I'm seeing that what I experience is like not even specific to me and my situation and my race, because I'm seeing the same thing today. I was looking at, I saw a clip of Tariami, and, you know, people, again, just assuming the worst about her. There's all these rumors that she's a hoe, that she's this, which I think is classic society. You see a young, beautiful woman who's comfortable talking with men and you assume that she's a hoe, right? Because that's what people do. That's what people do. It's like when I was in school and everybody thought I was having sex with everybody and I didn't even kiss not one of the boys at school. And you know how I found out? I found out after, because me and my brother went to the same secondary school. He joined in year 7 when I was in year 11. And when he joined, the stuff that guys at the school would say to him, like, oh, me and your sister did this and me and your sister did that, none of it ever happened. Can I tell you that I was so proud to be able to tell him that as a sister, as an adult now, and give him the satisfaction that, don't worry, I did not do anything. You know? So just rumors, right? And just people assuming the worst. So everyone's like, oh, Tariami, saying she's a hoe. I'm like, sis was in a long-term relationship that was all over the internet for years. And she just got out, like, I think it was like 6 or 7 months ago. And just because she's popular now and just because she's comfortable talking to guys and because she's comfortable doing certain things, oh, she's a hoe. Everything is the worst. Like Christian Rock, she should have known. She should have this. Like, I'm looking around and I'm seeing, not just online, but in person, like the issues that I have with like the people that I know and like what we're going through. I'm like, listen, if you didn't pay for your university fees, if you didn't have to pay to get a university education, I don't want to hear anything you have to say about, especially if you didn't pay the prices that we paid, like $9,000 a year in this country. I don't want to hear anything you have to say about how the system of repaying it is so fine. Because you're telling me now at 27 years old, so when I work, I have to obviously think about tax, which everybody does, but I also have to think about repaying my student loan, and the student loan repayments also go up with tax. And that's why even girls my age, I told you about my very own friends working as a data analyst in a massive company with massive companies like Samsung on their data, helping them to optimize their apps and all this, that, and the other in central London, flashy job. Yeah. Tell me why she's only making an extra £300 per month than she would be making in the job that requires no qualification, that she could have just gone into at 18. And that's the job that got her this job. But now, how is she supposed to buy a house as well in the climate of all of this? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about let's run the numbers, because I run the numbers. Listen, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have God, and God being my provider, because I don't, like, that's why I just can't stand it here. And I just decided, you know what? I don't want to be another voice that makes people, like a lot of these women, a lot of the friends that the girls that I meet, I don't want to be the voice, continue the voice of like condemnation. I don't want people to like watch my videos and feel like, especially the young women, like in my age group, because so many of them, they just need love. They just need to be told they're loved. They need love. That's what they need. They don't need people to be jumping down their throats. Like, one thing I thought was actually crazy. It's another one of those things where people just make assumptions again, right? Because I'm an adult now. Now that I'm really an adult, that's why I'm realizing how much children need adults, because so many things I really didn't know. And I'm having like delayed trauma now, realizing what actually happened. So like I was thinking about the other day, I was thinking about, you know, like being on the internet and how I was on Facebook at like 13. And again, if you're from a certain generation, you are also not, have never actually grown up with the internet, like as a child. If you grew up, if you're already an adult and the internet started, or later, whatever, you don't know what it's like. I remember when Instagram came out, because I was 16 at the time. And I remember downloading Instagram, like at the very beginning, I was 16, right? So that means a lot of you were already well into adulthood. Obviously, there was things like MySpace and Facebook, you know, the early stuff, MSN, AOL, then other things, but you get what I'm saying. So I was thinking about how, like, we were all just figuring it out, and some of us were just here online with people just having access to us that they really shouldn't have had. Like the other day, I was thinking about how many times older men were talking to me and telling me, oh, you're so mature for your age. You're so mature for your age. Blah, 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 blah. Like I don't think I saw this, but Gideon did a video, and I actually loved the video because he caught a predator. I love the way he's like doing his content, but he's kept his personality, but he's switched up his priorities. I love it, because sometimes I feel like when people turn to Jesus, it's like turning to Jesus means you become boring. And it's like, God is literally the most funniest, interesting, entertaining person ever, right? So in the video, he traps a guy who comes to stay with a 14-year-old girl. So this girl, she's quite young looking. Well, she's tall though, but she's quite young looking. And so she's been talking to this guy online, and he's been being very inappropriate, right? Which now I understand what's inappropriate. I didn't realize these things when I was a teenager and I was a kid, okay? And so he's talking to her, and they're actually talking on the phone, and then she's like, acting like she's 14 and she doesn't know anything. She's talking in like a kid voice. He's coming over to watch Shrek, right? So they're going to watch Shrek. So he shows up and he's asking her these questions, and this is what happens. This is why when anyway, so he's asking her questions like, you guys should watch the video, by the way. Has she had her cherry popped? Does she know what having a cherry popped means? Can she handle the size of him inside of her? Is she ready for this? Is this her first time? Like, weird. This is a grown man who has 3 kids. So he left his son at home. He's currently in a custody battle. He left his son at home at night to come to hers. And boy, he actually came. And it was crazy. And obviously there was Gideon, there was like security in another room because they were catching him. The police then also showed up. And it was weird because as soon as they came in, he was like, I would never do something with somebody that isn't under the age of 17. 17 is the legal age. I was thinking, and this is what we were just out here on the internet with. And it happened to me so many times. It's unbelievable. right? Because I'm not thinking anything of it. Somebody's like added you and all of this, and then somebody's just talking to you and they're telling you that you're mature for your age. That's why that even phrase still, I hate people telling me I'm mature for my age. I hate it because it's also the same thing predators say to children. You're mature for your age. I know you're only this old. I know you're only this. And I'll tell you something, guys. I never lied about my age. In fact, I never really lied to my parents growing up. Like after about like, you know, the early days, like the early lies, when I was like a teenager forward, because again, it was one of those other things I was doing to be the goody. I lied to my parents only a handful of times. And I would always tell them what I was doing, where I was going. Some of my friends would be lying when they were saying we're going to these parties. I wasn't lying. I was not lying. I was telling them everything, right? So I'm here with all of these, talking to all these guys. I remember there was one guy, I saw him recently-ish, who was talking to me. He was 18, I was 13, local guy. Another guy that a lot of people knew I was talking to. I was 16, he was 21, right? Yeah, that was, and I was thinking about the creepiness of the fact that he's the reason I got into German football, because he was German. He used to live in Germany. And then I just fell in love with Germany separately because it's just a cool place. But I was just thinking that was the canon event. So, you know, a lot of the things that you see us young ladies doing, or ways that we behave, it's like some certain things that just have become so unbelievably normalized for us in a way that like, and then you realize after the fact, and then it kind of, what's the word? Traumatizes you again, because this is why, yeah, I realized there's this undertone from a lot of us young ladies today. That's why I've been parading about my love for men, because we have issues, and there's underlying tones that people don't understand about where a lot of the hate. I can only speak for my generation. I don't know about the other generations, right? But for my generation of women, and why we fall in love with people like Taylor Swift, and what is her whole spiel? The love story. We have a love story. We fall deeply in love, and then we break up. You break my heart. Why are men like this? Crying at 3 a.m, eating Ben and Jerry's. The you know, the life of a woman. And what I've noticed that a lot of young women, we're all like, well, meanwhile, some of these older women judging us with their husband that they've been with for 30 years, right? Who is committed to them, who actually wants to be a provider, wants to be a father, wants to be around, right? And you don't know the ghettos that we're dealing with over here. A lot of our issues, it's because of the things that we've experienced ourselves as young women, and our lack of safety and protection, feeling protected. This is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. So we don't, like, there's this whole debate at the moment of, would you rather be left with a man or a bear? And a lot of people don't understand the undertones of why a lot of girls, I'll say like young women in my age group, I would say in the bear, because we genuinely don't feel safe anymore. Like, I was thinking about how crazy it is that now people have to go to such lengths just to cover up their drinks going out, because of how much more popular. Like, the world is getting crazier. Like, the world is getting crazier. So, yeah, maybe. And there's a lot of more broken homes. All these divorces, broken homes. The divorce rate is this, the divorce rate is that. Who does that directly affect? Us. My parents divorced 2 years ago. And actually, it's traumatizing now. Anyway, still, right? So you got all these things coming together. The education system crashing over time. I've told you guys this. Education is not what it used to be. That's why when parents say to me like, oh, my kid says that the teacher this, the kid says that, whatever. Like, when I was at school, I'm like, yeah, when you were at school, when was that? When was that? Because that was a while ago, respectfully. So you don't understand what we're going through, because you don't understand what it's like now in schools. The other day I found out that the word banter is banned in my cousin's school or my brother? I don't know. The young guys, they were telling me that banter has been banned in school, the word banter, because that's how serious it is now, that that's how soft we are now, right, as well. And that's just another whole thing. That's just another whole thing, right? So nowhere is safe, for starters. And again, historically, if you go back in time, if you go like before the Industrial Revolution, if you go back a while, things like schools and stuff were places where, and people were having children because they actually loved the children. They actually wanted to have children. Now a lot of people are just having kids because they can throw them in school and let somebody else look after them. That's why the teachers, we're just done with this education system, because the parents can't be bothered anymore. They're just like, let me just make sure that you've eaten, you've got clothes on your back, you've got a roof over your head. I take you to school, I pick you up. I'm not going to address anything that you said. It was like with Demi Lovato, right? You wonder why she turned out the way that she did. Well, she turned out the way that she did. She said herself she was being assaulted on set of Camp Rock that we've all seen. And when she talked to somebody about it, or she was sad about it, did somebody say to her? Oh, you can't be going through anything. Like, what could you be going through at your age? Like, the bitterness is crazy. Because I know you guys, a lot of people in the older generations, I know you guys have been through stuff. And I know, sorry to say it, but a lot of it, that reason why you're so bitter towards us is the jealousy. Can't lie. The jealousy that we get to speak about our problems and whatever. Which I feel like would be so healing if we could all do it together. Cross-generationally, that would be the goal. But yeah, some of y'all ain't ready for that, right? So I'm just thinking of all the things about so even with this protection thing, it's like, who is protecting us actually in this day and age? Who is protecting us? What do you think it feels like when you're a young woman like myself watching people jumping towards the likes of people like Andrew Tate, right? Nothing wrong with the guy. I agree with some of the things he says, but do you understand what it looks like? I don't know if people understand that, we're all watching each other. I'm very well aware that, how I carry myself is potentially going to affect what people think about women, about black women, about black people, about people my age, about even maybe where I come from or where I live. I'm aware of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I've become very intentional about every little detail about the things that you guys see. For a reason. There's a reason I have red in my hair. Because there's a reason I got all these piercings. There's a reason I don't really wear makeup. There's a reason. Every little detail, there's a reason. I do these things so that I am not looking like anything that anybody wants to aspire to be, because I am tired. I'm on the other side. When you have a lot of young ladies who are considered to be maybe the opposite of what I was seen as responsible, mature, blah, blah, blah. For what I had to do to have that alone and with the Lord, I'm exhausted at 27, guys. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. It's unbelievable. I'm tired. And guess what? The older you get, all there is more expectation. I wish I had actually started on the internet doing craziness, because then at least the bar would be down here. So right now at the moment, I'm trying to shatter all of anybody that's here because they're seeing me, putting me on a pedestal. I'm trying to weed them out. That's why I've been making my videos like this. I'm separating the wheat from the wheat from the wheat from the weeds. The people who don't like this version of me, bye. Because I would feel the pressure. Before, I would actually feel the pressure, with my videos and with everything, because people be like, oh, maybe I should do more research on that. Maybe I should do more research on that. Guess what? Eating the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If I try to learn every new skill that I feel like I need to learn, which is so many, there's so many different skills that I need to learn. Like I said, hair is just one of them. It's just one of them. There's all this stuff that I'm having to teach myself, right, that I've never been taught before. And then I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. Everything that I do is being critiqued. Nothing is ever good enough. And that's why I get why the girlies don't choose to do what I was doing before. Because it's we would never be good enough. There'll always be more critique. There'll always be things that everybody has to say. It'll always be getting assumed the worst anyway. So you may as well be the worst. I honestly feel like that. I feel like they're smart. I'm like, you may as well give people the worst, because they're going to assume the worst about you anyway. They're going to find one tiny detail about you, or one detail, and people are hella comfortable these days, because people have become comfortable now because of social media. So now that you can say something online, I remember even when I was in school, we'll be talking on MSN and be like, listen, I'm going to see you at school, because being a keyboard warrior was not respectable. And I remember, because I grew up in Essex, and I remember the girlies at school, it would always be that, if you're going to say something, say it to my face. It would always be like that. A girl come up to you, we'd all do it if you're going to say something, say it to my face, because it is just so funny. Oh my God, if you're going to say something, say it to my face. Yeah, say it to my face. Yeah. We need to bring that back, because people are hella comfortable now. People are hella comfortable to comment on just everything and anything. And then it's worse because, again, like I said, this is all normal for us. Like for me, sometimes I think, do I overshare on the internet? Do I use the internet too much? Do I whatever? And I think, this is all I've ever known. Actually, I was playing the Elmo game at like 4. I was playing Elmo, I was playing Sesame Street, I was playing Dr. Seuss on the computer. I've always had a computer. I've always been able to talk, to do things and do this, that, and the other. So I was thinking about this the other day. What would I actually do? Like, how would I actually express my thoughts if I didn't have YouTube? Like, what would I do? And that's really sad to think about, because that's kind of pathetic as well. But it's all that I know. Like, this is all that I know. This is what I know. This is what I know. This is the world we've created. This is the monster we've created. This is the monster. And I'm seeing it more and more nowadays. Sometimes in comment sections, like, I'm only 9, but even I know that this is what the freak are you doing at 9 years old commenting on like some of these types of topics that I look into? Like, who you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. I don't make excuses. In fact, I'm so sick of this that this is why I like to really succeed, because I get a kick out of beating people that are older than me at stuff. I get a real kick out of it. I get a real kick out of it, and I feel like I deserve it because of how much, what the things that people say about me and my generation and all of that. I get a kick out of outdoing adults that are older than me. Yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie to you. And that's why, you know, I've decided for my generation, you know, that I want to be the type of person, and I want to have the types of messages where, like, when I'm speaking, like, I can speak to my generation and everyone in a way that, like, where love comes first. In a way where, like, for example, this Chrisean Rock situation, everyone's like, oh, her baby's blind, it's because she was drinking, it's because she was smoking, you should have known. And she's actually trying to better herself. Like, she's trying to better herself. Like, I think it's crazy how in a world when people are bettering themselves, all that people do, and the Christians are some of the worst for it, right? Again, another reason why I conduct myself, my person, the way that I look, the way that I do. As people are like, I don't look like an average Christian, and I'm not gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? I openly talk about certain things on purpose, because I don't want people to feel how I felt in church all the time, which is, why does everybody seem to be perfect? Every time you mess up, it's all about the sin, and you're a sin, and you need to stop this sin. When the Bible literally says it's our job to spread the good news, and that we will be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So let the renewing take place. Who gave you the right to decide how long something was supposed to take? How do you know everybody's story? You don't. You don't. You're just sitting there judging, right? Because you can. And you don't even know how far that, like, for Chrisean, for what she's going through and what she's been through and her environment, not to mention half the reason she was doing a lot of the stuff she said before in a podcast. She was talking about how she was working and doing all this stuff because she's trying to pay for her mum's medical bills, because she's trying to look after her mum. So that's already backwards again, backwards. So she's got all these extra pressures, right? That some people here sitting are, again, living in their own parents' house, you know, doing whatever, like, when they were younger, being looked after, being helped, being taught all this stuff, right? And so for her to be where she is, you know what my stance is of the thing? If her decisions in pregnancy did affect her child, right? Which everybody's saying they think that they did, then I want to pray for healing for that baby. I want to pray for healing, not for making her feel bad, because you don't know what it took for her. You don't know how hard it's been, right? You don't know how hard it's been. You're not in those people's shoes. And I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of just this, like, horror nature, because that's why you wouldn't bother to try it. That's why why do you bother trying when you can't, like, when no one is happy? No, you can't please anyone. And people will say, oh, you shouldn't care about pleasing anyone. And I'm like, that's why I don't talk. That's why I'm close to the Lord, and I don't want to be with anybody but the Lord. Because as soon as I step away from just the Lord, it's like everybody is impossible to please as a young woman, especially for me as a young black woman, 27. My goodness, the assumptions that people make about me and the way that I get treated and the things that people say, especially because I have a baby face, And so people feel even more comfortable to just talk down to me all the time, right? It's crazy. And I'm like, wow, like people are really harsh. And again, who, when spoken to in a harsh tone, did that ever help? When did that ever help? You know what I'm saying? When people are just telling you how you're not good enough for this, you're not this, and you're not. You make a mistake, you should have known this, you should have known this. I'm just like, my goodness. I had to free myself of that. It's very religious. A lot of religious people are like this as well. I had to just free myself from it and, you know, realize that there are nice people out there as well who do help you along the way and who do hear you out and who do, you know, say, you know what, in love, this isn't for the best. This isn't for the best. And this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? If we're supposed to be a society and we're supposed to be a community, why is it that like I have to figure everything out by myself? If we're supposed to be a community, why is it that I have to be figuring out everything by myself? What's the point then? Seriously, genuine question. I would like for somebody to actually answer that. What is the point? What is the point in trying to be a responsible and mature if whatever I do, I'm still wrong? When I make a mistake, it's like hell. And I regret sitting on this side of the coin because now I'm exhausted. Now I have all these skills. I'm ahead. Yeah, okay. I've got this, that, and the other. I've achieved a lot and I have a lot of skills, but I'm tired now. I'm so tired. I've been praying to God for like years now for a break. I believe He will give me one. That's one of the main reasons right now I'm thinking, I don't know if I should have kids like this. Because like as soon as I have a child now, that means I would have just never had a break. Like never had a break. And that's scary to think about. Like that's real scary to think about for me right now. As if I think about my life laid out. When I was 12, my youngest brother was born, right? 16, I was working, I was selling stuff on eBay to make money and stuff since I was like 13, 14, yeah? Get my first actual job at McDonald's, 16. And I was paying rent, by the way, a little bit. And study, work, 18, go to university. And I was studying and working on top of the loan because obviously the loan wasn't, you know, going to cover everything. And then I go straight into the working world. Work. Where's the break? Like, where's the like, I'm such an idiot. Like, I wish instead, honestly, I tell you guys this, I wish instead that I had just like done nothing and just been considered I don't know, whatever, irresponsible and whatever. Because at least I could be walking into my 20s, being 27 now and feeling like, oh, you know what? I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to whatever. Right now, I just want to break. I want to break. And I get like a lot of the things that go on with and this is what I'm saying when I'm looking at these girls and I'm seeing me knowing what it took for me to not end up where a lot of these girls have, because I had to figure this out between me and the Lord. Knowing what it took is why I can know that what I can actually sympathize with exactly what they're going through. Because I know how hard it actually is in this day and age. And also I'm like the youngest millennial and like the oldest Gen Z, depending on who you ask. So that's just another thing. So I don't really relate completely with millennials. I don't relate completely with Gen Z. Imagine I said Gen Z. How weird. Because I learned the alphabet in America, so I always say Z. That's like the first time I think I've said Z without consciously thinking to change what I was saying. Weird. Anyway, you guys get the picture. So that's why I took my videos down, because I'm like, listen, we need to change this, because I don't want to be a voice of condemnation. I want to be a voice of love. Like, hop on board and we're going to help you. We're going to help you out of this. Jesus came to die for your life and to wash away all your sin. Come along and we are going to help you. We're going to help you work through this, and we're going to help do it in love. So that's why I needed a new way. And also because, you know, I do like to talk about a lot of different things, and I just felt like it needs to be delivered in a different way so that whoever's sitting on the other side of the screen can know that Jesus loves you. And he wants to help you. And that's what he did. He came for the helpless, the hopeless. He came to heal. He came to deliver, you know? So that's why. So if life's a game, let's play to it. Let me know you guys' thoughts about all of this, because I've really just said what I had to say right there. I really just said what I had to say. God loves you. Goodbye.